Hey, welcome back to P&W Repair. Today on the channel, we acquired a free mower that will start and run for maybe a minute before it stalls out and then won't restart till it's cold again. Crankcase has a whole lot of gas in it. That's just adding gas to it every time I run it. So my theory is the rings are probably washed out and fuel's just getting by the rings as it heats up and we lose compression, and that's why it won't run. I don't have a use for the rest of the mower at the moment, but this does have a 17.5 horse single cylinder Briggs and Stratton in it. And I do have quite a collection of lawnmowers. So I figure I will pull this engine out and we'll go ahead and tear it apart and see if that's all it's going to need is a set of rings. If that's it, and I can just put a set of rings in it and a gasket set, and do that for about 70 bucks with Chinese parts. So
China.
maybe worth my while at that point, but we won't know till we get into it. First things first, we gotta pull the motor. So hang out and we will get after it. Yeah, I'd say there's a little bit of gas in there. Was just changed by the guy I got it from. It already looks like that. Probably not great. I think this is probably a 30 weight oil is what should be in here, and that looks a hell of a lot thinner than 30 weight. So I'd say it's pretty diluted, and it definitely reeks of gas. I'm gonna pull the hood off of here. We'll unplug our headlight harness. Need a pocket screwdriver. I mean, I guess the positive thing to having your crankcase full of gasoline is there's probably not a whole lot of carbon buildup in there. Oops. Okay. Man, they wired this thing up right. Am I really gonna have just like that one connector and the battery cable for the starter? How convenient. Is this thing old enough to be standard? Well, maybe, but it sure shit isn't a half inch. That's a 7/16, dummy. What's that do from the standard to meter? There are freaking 7/16 in this thing or what? Ha! Here! Here! I'm not gonna have to need a wrench to hold that stud because we're just pulling the whole stud out. Or is it just because of, come on. I think it probably is new enough that it's metric. See, 12 metric. Nope. 12 metric. Need a service wrench. I don't have none here. Think that thing's freaking tight enough? It's up there afraid the cables will fall off. Am I gonna just cut the damn wire off, maybe? I don't really need it. I'd like to save the starter though, because I do know the starter is good. Let's cut it. Tell you what, I got, a pretty set of about 3 sets of most everything. And in this box at the house, I have the cheapest of cheap. And I bought a Harbor Freight set of pliers for this box. I gotta tell you, I didn't think it was really possible to mess up a set of dikes. Somehow they managed. But they are the dullest piece of crap on the market. Yeah, so we have what? Our throttle. It's like our throttle wire and our fuel line. That's it. I'm gonna probably hook a cherry picker to it. The front of this somewhere. We'll lift it up. We'll just cut the drive pulley, belt pulley, or the belts rather. And we got 4 bolts. Pull the crank pulley off. Pull the 4 bolts that hold the motor to the chassis. The thing will lift right out of there. No, the other thing we're going to have to contend with likely is the muffler. Getting those out, which I'm sure I'll probably end up cutting them because they don't look great. So while I'm looking at that though, let's see if I can't find some penetrating oil. Are we like a shortage of penetrating or something? It's ridiculous sometimes. What is this? This would appear to be penetrating oil. Liquid ranch. The good stuff. If my bottle worked. Maybe you gotta turn it on, dummy. Liquid ranch. Yep, that'll do it. At least I hope that is. Yeah, it is. Bottle was labeled. It since then has worn off, so I pulled the hood off, went ahead and pulled the throttle cable and the fuel line. At this point, we have the 4 bolts that hold it, the muffler, and the crank pulley. So I've got out the cherry picker and I'm going to pick the whole thing up to pull that crank pulley and pull the belts off. But I want to attempt, now that muffler's had a little bit of time to soak, to go ahead and pull those bolts out. Again, attempt. How well that's going to work, I don't know. But a guy's going to sure as hell try. Oh, squirrel forgot his nuts. Dang. Well, I guess I ought to try to put a standard bit in that. 6mm seems a little bit loose. So, what, a 7/32? Not a chance. About a quarter. Ooh, that actually fits really nice. That hurt, damn it. Some idiot put a hood sitting on the floor right there. My gimpy ass tripping on a jump. Well, that was easy. Didn't even try to break off on that one. How's this one? Just as easy. I love when things just work out. To be honest, I can't believe that did work like that. Dissimilar metals typically don't work well together. And we got stainless and aluminum, which are typically really not good together, especially with heat cycles. All right, those are out. Try to pluck this thing. You know how you can lift it in the air. The question is, what am I going to lift it by? This the axle beam? Sure, why not? Doesn't really matter if I bend it, right? I don't have, I mean, I say that, and then I'm the guy that I hate to even consider that because it still has a use. What if I do want to use this mower for something one day down the road? You never really know. You know, that's not going to get it high enough. Let's lower this thing down. See if I can't double back. I know we're not using our safety catch if I do that though. Here's what I'll do instead of that. Three-quarter shackle, a little too big. Yeah, well, what do you do? That'll work. Wow. Those blades look like they've seen better days, huh? Better. Oh, lovely. Crank bolt's not even tight. Freaking loose. I'll take it. Makes my job easier. All right, with any luck, that pulley will pull off with the belts on them. Could have used this frickin' double stack pulley too. Too bad I didn't have this mower sooner. Need to buy one for the Detroit mower project. I'm gonna have to pull it with a puller maybe? See if I can give it a couple left shots. Maybe it'll come out of there. So, I managed to get that crank pulley off. I went ahead and 3 of the 4 motor mount bolts are completely out. That top left one is loose. So at this point, I'll lower the mower back down so it's sitting flat on the ground and reach underneath, unthread that last one the rest of the way, and be able to lift the motor right off. But being that I'm not supposed to be lifting more than my cell phone with my left arm, we'll use said cherry picker to do so. Let's gingerly set her down, huh? Oh yeah. Oh, look at that. The motor is already trying to fall out. What a treat. Let's get that last bolt, if I can kneel down and actually reach it. That would have been up here. Done. All right, it's loose. I just got to figure out a way to pluck this thing now. Which I'm not entirely sure. I mean, normally this is one of those things a guy would just pick up, but my arm's still healing, and I'm not dumb enough to do that, so. We will find another way. So, what can we do here? If I could get back behind the starter, under it like that, probably be a decent spot to pluck it. Wrap that thing just like that. Maybe not. How heavy is that guy? Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. it's almost a waste. But trying to be smart about this whole recovery thing. So and I already know I do push it and do stupid things like just pick that up. I'm gonna pay for it tomorrow. I guess I didn't need to unbolt that muffler because it's bolted on down here. It's going to pull it with it as long as I'm careful. Maybe. You know, it's probably a really good idea to just unbolt that thing. Let's do that. Not the valve plate. Okay, or we could do that too. Okay. That is clearly not going to work. Alright, I figure if I can do this with my right arm and just kind of support it with my left. Let's do it. Oh, yeah. And that's how you pull a Briggs. Alright. Well, I had a pretty decent idea and went ahead and used one of the motor mount bosses and one of the holes in my fab table and actually bolted one of those motor mount bosses to the table. Just top notch, I tell ya. So now, we're gonna tear this thing down. See what's what. Do I by chance have a magnet? Yes, I do. Okay, well that works. To pick up some of those big black totes from Lowe's or something. For whatever reason, I keep forgetting. This is kind of nice design. I'm not sure what design of Briggs this is, but shoot, change that mag out. You don't even have to pull the flywheel. That's cool. I don't know what these are, but I can tell you the Briggs I'm used to working on, like the old L heads and such, cast iron heads. This thing is lightweight in comparison. I'm gonna change your guys' camera. Well, we'll pull that intake off, I suppose. Oh, that was tough, huh? I don't know if I even need to disconnect the linkage. If I'm just pulling the cylinder, well, I'm going to. Might as well do that before I change your guys' angle. So it's gonna go like that. This one is gonna be a pain in the butt, per usual. Whatever. All right. I went ahead and pulled the valve cover off. Cracked the adjusters for the rocker arms loose. Need a Sharpie. Got a Sharpie somewhere? So, what do we got here? It would appear as though the top is our exhaust rocker. Label that exhaust. Pull our intake rocker. And label that intake. Set that one aside. Alrighty. Interesting. Intake push rod is actually aluminum, whereas the exhaust is steel. Who would have thunk? Well, I do believe we can just go ahead and unbolt the cylinder head. That ought to do it. So, the top valve is the intake valve. The bottom valve is the exhaust valve. Did I have that backwards? Potentially. I don't recall. We'll have to review. No, I think that's right. I don't know. I already told you, so you ought to be able to tell me, right? Neither of these valves are not burned. Valve faces look fine. Hopefully I'm getting that in view. They look fine. Oh yeah. I'm gonna say it's a ring issue. That cylinder's pretty glazed. Let's get you in for a close-up, huh? I don't know how well the camera's gonna pick it up. That cylinder wall is pretty glazed up. I'm gonna say we have a ring seating issue. You can see that's like a freaking mirror. Either that or a broken ring. Probably go ahead and turn this bad mammer jammer over and pull the crank plate off and go ahead and pull this piston out. Check it, see if it's got broke rings or if it's just how polished up that cylinder is. Woo! Hey! Easy there, Tiger. Appears though I missed one, huh? Beautiful. Now, are we all the same length? Let's find out. That would explain why these were not such a great time coming out. They're all Loctited. Yet to see that on any of the Briggs I've had apart. And again, I work on old junk, so this is a lot newer. I think this is 2011 model or something. Something like that, maybe? I don't know. Don't know. All I know is I found the kit, a ring kit, and a gasket set. If I need it and it's salvageable, we're still just tearing apart to determine if it's salvageable. Or not so much if it's salvageable, but if it is cost effective. To do so. Come on, little buddy. Delicious. Okay, so how does... That's a later on problem, huh? There's the governor weight cage. Or whatever you want to call it, because I'm sure someone will have to correct me. Don't give a shit. How about that? What are we working with? fellers and fellettes.
Only thing is, that is clearly not TDC. That piston is not all the way up, which makes me wonder, are they supposed to be 180 from each other if they both face, you know, either both face up or both face down? I guess as long as I note that they are in fact both pointed at each other where they're currently at, we have a tooth either side in mesh, and then the two with the alignment marks are stacked perfectly right now. Oh, come on. Yeah. Sure. Okay. I'm gonna say that's where I want it. That piston's not at the top of its stroke, but I mean, as long as our alignment marks line up going back together, all should be hunky-dory, right? So I don't see any other marks. Typically on any kind of gear drive, you do it dot to dot. So I'm gonna run with it. It'll work. Now I just gotta figure out how to gain access to those bearing cap bolts. Rear lobe is facing straight up currently. Cam lobes look decent, I suppose. Got, you know, pretty minor wear to them. Tappet looks good. That one looks good. Come on. Another key deal here, I guess, there is the keyway for the crank gear. I'm going to go ahead and move you over here. Get that light off of it so you can actually see it. Oh, you got it perfectly there. The camera would zoom. It's right there, you can see that. So if you index that, that lines up damn near perfect with that casting and that weight of the crank, which, I mean, obviously that keyway is not adjustable. I can't move that anywhere. But oriented with that casting mark and right up to this hump at the back of the starter, she'll be pointing there. Just for reference. This is all stuff that when I put it back together, it's going to be probably quite a ways down the road. So it's good to note all this. Naturally, that little rust slip is going to prevent me from getting this damn gear off of here. Yep, tippy tap. Just gingerly work it off of there so we don't just shear the thing in half. Well, maybe. There we go. So it took me a minute, but looking at this, it suddenly hit me that the flywheel has to come off. The crank actually comes out with that piece, is how it's designed. And you do access those bearing cap bolts and unbolt those before you disassemble that whole thing. I decided it was far too late out right now to fire a compressor in respect for my distant neighbors. I'm a nice guy. Off camera there, I ended up getting a cheater pipe and really wrestling to hold this thing down against the table, let the pipe wrench push up on the table, and break it loose with the piece of tube. So, crank bolt is now loose. So from that point, go ahead and thread that thing out the rest of the way. I don't remember what those are torqued to, but I know they got a bit torque on them. I had torqued them before, so it's just awkward to try to hold on to a little motor like this while you're torquing something like that, unless it's bolted to the mower. It's a freaking pain in the butt. And even if it's bolted to the mower, you still have to have some way to hold that crankshaft, so it's almost more difficult at that point. All right. Crank bolt is out. That'll do. Oh look, now she's captured. Can't lose that. That's good. I feel like this is absolutely not the way this tool is intended to be used. However, I don't remember how it's supposed to be used, and I'm choosing to not spend any time looking it up, because what I'm doing should work in theory just fine. Yep. What the hell is that from? Oh. I'm like, what the hell is that? Duh. That's your keyway. Don't lose that either. Okay, flywheel off. So from this point, I'm going to try to take some of this junk off the bench, because I'm like out of room. And from here, we're going to go ahead and pop, crunchy, a bearing cap. Got to figure out another torque, I don't know what size. How about probably somewhere around, I would say a 30. Probably be something that you've done something like this. Need an expansion. yeah. Friggin' A. I'd say that thing's got a little bit of Loctite, huh? There's one of them loosened. See if I can bust my knuckles on this other one. I'm not going to get that extension, so let's go ahead and take that top one all the way out to start. So the bolt is in the lower bearing half. I'm going to leave that bolt in. Actually, you know what? Doesn't matter. That cap's only going to go on one way. Okay. So there's this groove. Yeah, so the guy can't mess that up anyway. Whatever. Pull our piston out. See how it looks, huh? Get out of there. Yeah. That's my little tappy tap. Let's hopefully not shoot it out on the floor, huh? Rotate her around. Littering ends. Let's not pound on the buried surface. Got it. What are we working with? How friggin' clean the bottom of that piston is. What a treat. Oh. Probably doesn't help when your ring gaps are lined up either, huh? Although, lower oil control gap is not. But the compression rings gaps are lined up. That's definitely less than ideal. Rings aren't broke. They definitely have some wear to them. Bearing journal doesn't look horrible. Check this out. Compression rings are, camera picking that up, they're lined up. Oil control ring, the gap is down there, so it looks good. Where's the other side of that, I wonder? Okay, so the other side of that isn't lined up either, so that's good. I mean, they're not clocked right at all, but I don't know a whole lot when it comes to these little tiny engines. I mean, as far as how the internals are put together, that's as critical as it is on a regular engine, you know? I don't know. I don't do enough of it. Let's have a gander at our cylinder. Okay. Give more light, huh? Whoa, easy there, turbine. Here we good wipe down. Well, we got some scoring. Doesn't look too bad. See vertical scratches. I don't know if you're gonna even do them. The camera will pick them up. Oh yeah, you can see them. Some vertical scoring there. I don't think that's. Well, the other side doesn't. The other side of the cylinder looks a little worse. Let me move you. You can kind of see those in the back there. They're a little deeper by the look of them. You know, I'm gonna have to take my glove off and see if I can actually catch those, but I think that block is salvageable, and I could probably run a dingleberry down that and it'd be okay. Or dingleball. Dingleberry. Yeah, I don't think those are like our compression killer. I think just how glazed over that cylinder is. It's what's hurting us. That just frickin' whacks that set of rings. I think we might be able to salvage this thing with a set of rings and a gasket set. So, with that being said, I'm not seeing anything here that's the end all to this motor's life. It's kind of looking as though it's got to be a ring issue. I mean, I'll have to really clean it up and go over it, make sure I don't have, a crack in the cylinder wall, or make sure the head's not cracked after I clean it up. But I mean, it was clearly losing compression without even putting a gauge on it. It was losing compression, and the crankcase was full of gasoline. That being said, how was the fuel getting in the crankcase? Well, you have very few options there. You either have a cracked cylinder head. Well, you couldn't even have a cracked cylinder head in theory, right? I mean, how's it going to get the crankcase through the cylinder head? So you either have a crack in that cylinder wall somewhere where it's still introduced to oil down. Well, no, you don't. That doesn't make sense either. So there's two possibilities here, the way I see it. Either option A, which I'm 99% sure is the scenario here. Cylinder's washed out, rings are wiped. This ring gap on your compression rings doesn't help, but it's washing past the rings into the crankcase. Option A, which I think is the likely. Or option B, fuel is getting past this piston. The piston would have to have some kind of really small crack in the head of it that opens up with heat. which I've got to tell you, I don't think that's the case either. I'm thinking we need a set of rings and some dingle balling. And we should have a refresherized engine. Clean up some gasket surfaces, pound some shit back together. Should be like a brand used engine. All right, fellas. Well, I appreciate you watching. I'll order up some parts and we'll put this thing back together at some point. Be sure to like and subscribe, and catch you guys on the next one.